What the fuck is up? Angry Black Quarterback, episode number 26, Achilles heel. Wild fucking week one, honestly. Crazy as fuck. We're going to have Elwood. We will definitely be having the ever so wonderful, I guess I just pulled you up solo. I don't know why I did that. 2.0's here somewhere. I don't know where he is, but he's somewhere. And we're going to be really getting into the meat of a lot of this stuff. There's a lot of crazy action this weekend. Aaron Rodgers down. Cowboys shutout, put up 40 points. Eagles look like they struggle. Bills are crazy and lose that game. I mean, all sorts of shit that we're going to be getting into today. Should be a good one. We got Elwood up in tie-dye, of course. Elwood, always a pleasure to see you. How are you, sir?
You know I'm doing good this week.
Are you? So you texted me earlier.
Fantasy team crushed it. My actual team crushed it.
No one cares about your fantasy team. Nobody cares about your fantasy team.
Well, let's talk about what I really care about. And I already pre-warned you about me being triggered. Not impressive. I was 40-0. Not impressive.
I was saying that in regards to the offense.
Against, okay.
No, we learned, okay, hold on. We'll get into it when we got more people. Here. But I will say this.
There's only one part of our offense that wasn't impressive, and I'll say that.
We learned more about where the Giants are than we learned about where the Cowboys are. The Giants are a bad team. The Giants are a bad team. Hold on. Let me finish my thought. Hold on. Stop it.
Bad team.
You zip
it
before I boo you.
I want a playoff game.
You zip it before I boo you. Listen. This is what I'm saying. We learned more. Don't make me go Stephen A on you. This is what I'm saying. We learned more about the Giants than we learned about the Cowboys. We learned that the Giants have absolutely no wide receivers. They have nobody who can get the fuck open. Nobody was getting open that entire game. That was terrible. And then whenever one of them makes a play on a deep pass, he fumbles it. He gets stripped and fumbles the fucking ball and just goofs it up like a dumbass. So I'm saying, and then we also learned that their offensive line is worse than we thought. We thought it might be bad like last year, but hopefully improved, and it's not anywhere near where it needs to be. And I felt bad for Daniel Jones. You can say whatever you want about how he played. He got his ass whipped. He had no time. No time. And then he was throwing the ball. No one's getting open. So there's nobody open. So he's forced to run around like a chicken with his head cut off.
Okay, so that all being said, and there is no excuses in football. You know, we always say that. But my God, dude, did anybody watch ESPN about around 9 a.m. when they were doing the morning Sunday kickoff? I forget his name, Graziano. It might have been. They had him out in New York covering the game, and they get to clip to him on camera, and it's just downpouring rain at 9 a.m.
Oh yeah, they shut it down.
And the
They
fact when the Jets game started, I saw rain, and I was like, New York, come on, can you share this rain? Texas would love it, first of all. But yeah, dude, and there was a part of the Cowboys game where even me and Karina looked at each other. You know how the cameras, I don't necessarily, if it's like a visor or just a filtration system. I'm not a big camera guy. I was, more of an audio in my AV days. But you know how normally you can't usually see the rain unless it's at a certain shot, or even at a decent rainfall, you can't normally see it from like the big bird eye sideline view.
yeah.
Well, there was a point of that game where you can see it on every camera distinctively, and I was like, holy shit,
It's
that is raining so hard that literally the cameras can't even, like,
well,
it
first
was
up,
gnarly. And so that being said, hard game for both teams as far as, any of us that can remember playing in football. It wasn't necessarily cold, but rainy and cold are the worst weather, to play in.
all right. Well, you're jumping
So it
ahead.
was a
You're jumping
it was a
ahead.
nutty game.
Yes, you're jumping ahead, but it was. And 2.0, welcome, welcome back. I tried. We're gonna get it earlier and earlier, earlier and earlier, so you can get sleep because you're an
And
adult
I
I
hate
now.
to admit it,
appreciate that.
But your
I,
but I
setup's
I
laughed
better.
a little.
appreciate that.
I appreciate you having better internet, being out of the boonies. This is great.
Oh
It's
yeah.
crystal clear. We get to see that handsome face. But no, welcome back, man. Good to see you. Yeah, like I said, Mr. Goody, aka Andy, aka I don't know, Mr. Goody Two Shoes, the chef. He will be here later. He's gonna be running late.
Mister sucks on
But
an eagle's beak.
but crazy week overall, and I appreciate you guys being here. So again, a round of applause for y'all. But we're gonna get into the Cowboys. We're gonna get into the Eagles. Biggest winners, losers. I want to discuss who's obviously it's been one weekend, but we'll do one weekend who we think might be winning these divisions. We'll get into some picks as well. But I mean, the big news is Aaron Rodgers tearing his Achilles,
I
and
hate this, man. I laughed.
you
Right.
laughed. What,
Well,
dude?
first
That's
of all, me and
wild.
my dad called me right off the bat because
I'm booing
let's be
you.
real,
I'm
everyone
booing
except for the doctors that were watching and putting it out on Twitter, um, the way it played out, the way he acted right after, stood up, stood there, and then sat down. My dad called me instantly and he goes, "Do you think he's just saying, fuck this? I've had enough of getting a sack?" Because that pressure from the get go was, you know, he was almost getting lit up every play. And that showed the biggest weakness for me was the Jets O line in that game. I mean, Zach Wilson did a good job, I guess, even though the game was
No,
won
you
by a
definitely
punt
by punt.
return.
But I mean, the fact that they hung around in that game, rallied together. He made some plays. Garrett Wilson made plays. I mean, it
Yeah,
sucks.
I don't know
It's
about y'all, but that game made no sense. Like, I was
but
texting a group buddy of mine, and everything happening in that game made no
but it
sense.
is
Josh Allen, oof.
it is sad. I think it's sad for football because I mean, Aaron Rodgers, whether you like him or not, I think when he's playing good and he's healthy and playing football, football's better. Football was
Before
better
he
when the
was
Packers were good.
serious,
Whenever he was on his MVP runs, football was better whenever Aaron Rodgers was having those moments. And he was throwing for like 39 touchdowns, 30 picks, like some wild. Because it was all, everybody had to, it was more competitive. Because, it was a question of who was the best quarterback. And so it sucks because he finally is where he wants to be, gets out of it. Packers look like they're happy. They've moved on as well. And for him to just tear his Achilles and be out for a year, I think he comes back next year. It's his left.
oh,
If it's
I
less,
do
if it's
too.
left, it's his left Achilles, so it's not his plant foot. I think he comes back. I think comes back, plays one more year. I don't think he goes out like this. I think they're too talented and they still have people under contract. But
Well, I just
the
think his ego's
Packers,
too big to quit.
the Packers.
There's
Well, I
no
mean,
way.
anybody's would. He's won 4 MVPs. Won a Super Bowl, and he's a Super Bowl MVP. You'd be pretty cocky too if that was your resume. and you have the
Well,
offensive
yes,
rookie
but
of the
did you
year,
watch
the
the interview with
defensive
John
rookie of the
McEnroe?
year, one of the best defensive tackles in football, a healthy Brees Hall coming back who looked like a monster, and he looked really
He did.
healthy in that game.
That was
He's
the
back.
best
He's
looking
back
part of
from
the
an
team.
injury. You look at those pieces that they have on the Jets. Aaron Rodgers would put a young squad like that over the top and help groom somebody to come in behind him. That's what I'm saying.
What? But without no line. I mean, that was established from the first four plays of the game. Aaron Rodgers, we can say all we want, but I don't know if he has such an easy year if that O line is that bad throughout the year. Like
Yeah,
if
the
they don't find
homeboys.
a fix for it.
Yeah, he's quick and he can make quick throws. And supposedly, there's a story out there that he
I heard
is
about the cut
opposed
blocks.
as opposed to cut blocks because he wants to be able to make
Yeah,
plays.
yeah.
Dude, it's pouring. There was a guy who posted a tweet about 6 hours before the game, and he was like, "It's pouring rain at MetLife on turf."
Hmm.
And you got like a quarterback that's almost 40. Aaron Rodgers is tearing his Achilles today. He said that, and then that actually happened, which is wild. That tweet's like blown up.
I
I
didn't
remember
know
seeing that
that.
and was like, "Holy shit!" Or that X or whatever the fuck we call it now. Stupid. But I think it's bad for football that he's injured. I think that makes that division more competitive. I think it's a good story arc for him. He seems to be a kind of at peace. People say that he was putting on a front for Hard Knocks. I don't know. I've always been an Aaron Rodgers fan.
Not me.
There's something about a guy who wasn't recruited out of high school, went to junior college, made his own recruiting videos like with his mom, and then sent those off to colleges, and that's how he wound up at Berkeley. And then he passed for 10,000 yards. That's badass. Like that he has a chip on his shoulder because no, I'm serious though. He's always had a chip on his shoulder because he was always kind of overlooked. You forget at how discarded he was, and just his journey to be in a Pac-10 school and play. He had to go the JUCO route, and you'd think that Aaron Rodgers went to a junior college and nobody was even looking at him, and he made his own videos and mailed them. That's before you were emailing shit. He was mailing tapes.
He was Uncle Rico in him,
That's
man.
badass. Like there's something about a guy doing that to now
Yeah,
being
but
considered
personally,
one of the
everything I've
greatest
heard
of all
about him
time.
personally, everything out of football, all the reasons you don't like Sean Payton is all the reasons I don't like Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, I'd say
Everything that's come out personal about him, every story I've heard, it's just like, okay, don't like that guy.
yeah, I mean, and that's fair if that's what you want to think. I mean, I think he's authentic. I don't think he tries to put on that much of a front, and I think that's why people don't like Aaron Rodgers. Is because then you'd want your quarterback to be all kumbaya and consoling, or take the fall if he's like played a great game and he didn't. He's not that person. He's like, nah, fuck that. Like we suck, or these guys need to be better. There's an honesty about him that I appreciate. That like you don't see that much in football. So where he's not robotic. He's more of like a Cam Newton style and attitude than he would be like a Tom Brady. Where for me, Tom Brady's very inauthentic. I don't mean maybe he is all super chill and nice, but it seems so curated to me that I can't really get behind it. Same with a LeBron or
Yeah, but
somebody.
being not robotic and being a Cam Newton is a totally different spectrum.
Well, speaking your mind and making a
I mean,
point
just
to
like
make. No, I'm
out
just
there,
saying
like,
making a point for people to hear it isn't necessarily a bad thing. But when it comes to
yeah.
sports media or it comes to the public image that you might have, that doesn't work in your favor all the time because you're not always going to say what everybody wants to hear.
Well, on the more football important,
Like Dak says
if
shit
the
about a
Jets
bad
O-line
game and
looked
blows
that
off.
bad
Hold
this
on,
week,
hold on, hold on. Because if Dak
hold
sat there and threw
on.
threw four picks, but three of them were tipped and they were picked off, and he sat there and was like, "Look, dude, these guys got to catch the fucking ball." Because they're just not catching it, and these are tip picks, and it's bullshit. And he wasn't like, "Look, we need to work on our timing. I need to make sure I'm putting the ball in the right spot." Those guys have been making plays all year, and they've been real consistent for us, and I believe in those guys. I got to make sure that I'm doing my part to make sure that we all succeed as a team. If he doesn't say that and he says, yo, CeeDee Lamb needs to catch the fucking ball because he's dropping it and these drops are resulting in interceptions and he's making me look bad, that would be something that everyone would frown upon. They'd say that's not good.
That's a trick question asking, setting that scenario up for a Cowboys fan. Because
I'm saying that's just for any,
a
and it's
Cowboy
for
player
any.
saying that to another Cowboy player, like that's all the headlines. That's the drama on the sidelines.
No, but that's
the
every
Cowboys
quarterback. That's
can't
any
keep it
quarterback on any team. If they spoke like that, or like, yo, we have a bunch of young receivers out there and they're playing like shit and they need to catch the ball and they need to do what they need to do.
Brady did it.
Well, I mean, exactly, but Aaron Rodgers did it when he was in Green Bay, and you got to remember that this guy sat at Green Bay. They never spent really any investments in offensive weapons. They hit the jackpot on some of these offensive weapons in late round picks, but they never sat there and actually invested top tier picks for Aaron Rodgers. Like they hit home runs with the Bakhtiari. They hit they hit a home run with Valdez Scantling. They hit home runs with fucking Aaron Jones from UTEP. Like they hit home runs with some of these players that made the offense better, but they never went out and were like, okay, we're gonna go get ourselves a top flight receiver, a no doubt number one receiver,
multiple MVP, and everything you just listed, and also the history you just said. Wouldn't you, as a owner, GM / mindset, be like, well, if Aaron Rodgers came from this, then I can find gyms, all the time. And these, what you're saying, like them not going out for a high profile. But hey,
well, Aaron
like
Rodgers was still drafted in the first round.
Yeah, he was drafted in the first round, but they've invested a lot of their true first-round picks in defensive players. And there's been a lot of times in the playoffs where their defense is what's really let them the fuck down. Now, there is a snow game where they lost and Aaron Rodgers didn't play that good. Nobody played that great. It was a game in the fucking snow. Doesn't matter. Like, those are tough fucking games. But there's a lot of times where Aaron Rodgers has made amazing plays with players that would be considered journeymen or subpar. So to sit there and say he doesn't do his part or didn't do his part in Green Bay would be a lie, because he definitely did his part in getting that team to the playoffs. I mean, that motherfucker won four.
Oh,
no, I know, but I'm just saying, whenever we talk about his attitude and his curmudgeon-y attitude as he got older, and while he was there and was watching them invest in the defense, a defense that was still blowing games for them at times, and then going out and getting journeyman, when you could go get a journeyman defensive player and he might be better than that waste of a first-round pick on defense, or that second and third-round pick, and then you finally go get a receiver in the fourth. I mean, they spent a lot of time. I think the last time they invested a top pick in a skill position offensive weapon was Randall Cobb, and Randall Cobb was drafted forever ago. I mean, Randall Cobb is in his damn near 40 himself. And that's the last time they drafted. I don't even think Aaron Rodgers was a quarterback when they drafted Randall Cobb. I'd have to look at that. He might have been. He might have been early.
Well, on the flip side of it, I was actually impressed with Jordan Love. Did not see that coming first game out of the bat.
Mm-hmm.
3 TD passes. I actually picked him up as my backup QB on my fantasy team.
I don't know if you saw this, but there was a bar that opened that ran a bar tab.
Wait, the Jets
Hold on.
thing?
Did you guys?
Thing?
Yeah, they ran a bar tab to see Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. And it's it was if the Jets lose, they're gonna pay everybody's bar tab. That's insane. So they got that place is fucking packed with Packers fans. It's Jack's American Pub. Oh, I'm playing the video of it. This shit's wild. I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't fall for it.
No.
And then to lose on that punt return.
I had a similar thing happen to our friends where they bet on the game. And my buddy, Stroud.
Yeah.
So Stroud made a bet with our buddy Wags. And Stroud was betting on the Jets. And before halftime, he was like, all right, Wags, I'm sending you the money. I'm going to bed. And then he woke up and he's like, hey, man, send me that money back. And it was a whole debate in the group chat. It was just too funny.
Would you do that if it go to a place and run up a bar tab if it was Cowboys Eagles and if the Cowboys win?
No, because no.
I think that's putting karma in there.
unless I was a Giants fan at a bar on Sunday night and someone said, "Hey, if the Giants, or a game like that where it's already a full domination."
Well, yeah, then that's
Because
not
let's be
fair.
real, that game wasn't a domination on any team's part the whole match.
Well,
It was
hold
just
on.
kind of
Yeah.
this toss up back and forth of who's actually going to
People are
really
people were
do
pissed, so they
something.
got people were pissed, man. I'm playing this video, and there's like right after the punt return, people were like, "God damn it!" Sitting there, they had to pay these fucking tabs, dude. These huge fucking tabs.
And that punt return was only fitting for
That
that
punt
game.
return was badass. That was awesome. Like
Yeah, no
on
penalties.
Crip, that was awesome.
But
Yeah, that's a bad
I didn't
idea.
realize
You don't
this.
do that.
I'll be honest.
You don't do that. That's a bad
Until they said it on the coverage, I didn't realize Josh Allen was the leading the turnovers in the whole league.
Well, yeah. Did you see that? Did you see that madness? But what I
Dude,
would say is before we get into what you got to talk about, fucking Eagles won, baby. Eagles won. Eagles
Barely.
won. Sorry, it's my fucking show. Eat a dick. Eagles won.
What's funny is y'all gave me crap for
Eagles
saying that in
won.
the group
Eagles
text,
won.
and then I
Eagles
literally
won.
see the
Eagles won.
ESPN
Eagles
headline,
won.
"Eagles skim by" or whatever, and then the next morning everyone's like, "Eagles didn't win.
You can be
Patriots
a hater.
lost."
You can be a hater all you want. Eagles won. It was an ugly
Okay,
game,
be
but
honest.
I'd rather
This
lose
wasn't
ugly. Rather lose ugly. I mean, sorry, I'd rather win
Win
ugly. I'd
ugly.
rather win ugly. And we play tomorrow. We play the Vikings. I think there's a lot of room to grow, but there, especially in the second half, the Eagles are passing the ball well. I mean, what do you want from us, man?
So you admit it wasn't a pretty game for y'all.
No, it definitely wasn't a pretty game, but we won, and that's what matters. That's what matters. Is that means we won. We won. We
So the
won.
boys, so I guess I can't be mad.
I'm playing this video
Sorry
of
for the
R.
Broncos.
Kelly's a video of R. Kelly singing what is it?
Didn't that
The
Broncos
national
game come
anthem.
down to the last wire?
What?
Didn't the Bronco game come down to the wire and they lost it?
Yeah, I mean there was
The
a
difference was also a missed PAT by the Broncos.
Ugh,
yeah. How was that?
brutal.
How you feeling about
Painful
your
to
Broncos?
watch. Extremely painful to watch. I liked some of the things I saw from Sean Payton with Russell Wilson. Like they got Russ moving a lot more. They moved the pocket. Offense just seemed to click at a pace that never really happened last year.
Yeah.
So obviously losing the game sucks, especially when it was on your kicker. But I'm optimistic, more optimistic than I've been in the past couple of years.
What does that make Jimmy G's record as a starter just in regular season games? Like his win percentage is so fucking high, it's absurd. You forget that Jimmy Garoppolo's win percentage in regular season games when he's just starting is absurd.
But he never started for Patriots, right?
No,
got
he
traded.
did. He did, and he went like 7-0 or some shit, and that's what got him a huge contract. Then to get him out of there because
Was Brady hurt or something?
Well, no. When Brady got hurt, they had what's his name?
Oh, it's the bald guy, right?
No, not the bald guy. You're thinking Brian Hoyer. Brian Hoyer was there for a long time. There was somebody else. They went 11-5, but they missed the playoffs. That's when he got his knee torn up by Bernard Pollard. And then they instituted that rule about hitting the quarterbacks when they're throwing and hit them below the knee. That's like the Tom Brady rule. One of those Tom Brady rules is that. Oh my gosh, who is that quarterback? Oh, Matt Castle. Matt Castle took over.
Yeah.
Matt Castle took over as quarterback. They went 11-5, missed the playoffs. Then Tom Brady came back, and then they did their own shit. But Jimmy G came in. They drafted Jimmy G, and he went to the same college as Tony Romo, and he was like pretty highly vaunted. He had a lot of skills. He was a good athlete. So when they drafted him later, they were like, oh, they'll groom this guy, kind of like some quarterback factory shit, like what the Eagles do. We draft people, we train them up at quarterback, we ship them off to other places for picks or whatever. And then he ended up being really good. Tom Brady got hurt later, but it wasn't, and he ended up starting 7 games. And he went undefeated in those 7 games. And Tom Brady came back, and they put, yeah, and then they ended up trading him away. And then he ended up going to San Francisco and being the highest paid quarterback in the league at that period of time, like $156 million contract with like 90 or 110 guaranteed, some big ass deal.
I mean,
He signed a huge deal to go to San Fran.
Upcoming salary cap bump for teams?
Oh yeah,
because I feel like
it continues
to
go
have
up
the way these
every year
quarterback contracts are going.
But I mean, I got the player stats here. I mean, Jimmy G 20 of 26, 202 picks. What about your boys, the Broncos? 27 of 34 for 177 and 2 tutties. See, that's not good. That's way too many. That's way too many. Those are short. Those are some short ass passes.
Hey, he's just trying to build up his confidence again, you know.
No.
He's going to start unleashing it down the field again. It'll happen. It'll happen.
I thought Dad looked fine.
For
my boys.
No way, man. All right, well, I guess.
No way.
Yeah, what was Dak's stat line?
Okay,
Yeah,
well, hold on. All right,
bad.
we'll get into more.
And what's sad is some of his best passes in the end zone were all dropped by not one.
Okay. Calm down. Let's get into the first game that you were talking. Stop when you were talking shit. Lions Chiefs 21-20. So I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
hold on. We're gonna be doing this part where we go through the scoreboard, and I will tell you what game we're on, and we'll discuss it briefly and shortly.
Okay.
And then we will discuss another one. So the first game, Lions Chiefs. You picked it correctly. You were the only one who picked it correctly. Really good game. We obviously saw some flaws on the defense and on the offense by the Chiefs. What did y'all think? I mean, you picked it correctly, so good on you, Elwood.
I think it's what everyone was kind of, saying. It was, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, but he's dealing with a lot of receivers that are young that he hasn't really had much time with. That's Chiefs win that game if all those passes aren't dropped. I mean, it was kind of, I kind of feel bad for the one guy. We'll see how he bumps back. But I know that everyone was kind of dogging on him.
No, because Kadarius Toney's a shit talker and runs his mouth all the time. So Kadarius Toney kind of did that to himself. Like Kadarius Toney is a great athlete. He was great at Florida. He slipped in the draft because he's kind of just a shit talker, kind of just an all around dick. And so people were dogging on him because he was dogging on people all week. He runs his mouth on Twitter, and then he ended up deleting his Twitter, and then he reinstated it to talk shit to the Giants about the Giants losing. Like that's some sucker ass shit.
But I'll be honest, I think the Lions needed that win more than the Chiefs need another Super Bowl. Like far as the drive, the Chiefs, how bad the Lions have just been had these. Well, last season, what was it? I think even 2 seasons ago in a row, they've had all these such close games that they always lose. And then you got a press conference, the coach, sobbing tears away and stuff. So I just couldn't imagine if the Lions were to lose that game in the fashion that the game was. I don't think they recover from it season-wise.
What do you think, 2.0?
Even though the Chiefs recover from it, no problem.
Yeah, Chiefs will be back to the drawing board. But this is a confidence builder for the Lions. What do you think, 2.0?
I mean, as a fan of the league, it was cool to see the Lions win. They've been on the up and up. I really like Dan Campbell, ever since Hard Knocks. Kind of feel like the majority of people are rooting for them. So, like Elwood said, it was good to see him get the win. I think if the Chiefs actually had Travis Kelce, that game wasn't close at all.
Or Chris Jones.
Yeah. And so don't want to take too much away from the Lions, but you kind of have to. Um,
What y'all think about Chris Jones being at the game?
Oh, I think that sounds like Chris Jones. That's consistent with the character he's been and the person he's been since he's been in the league. Chris Jones is good. He knows his worth. He wants to get paid. I mean, those guys get fucked over, honestly, in comparison to what they get as scraps compared to what a lot of these owners and people make. That off these TV deals and stuff, they're getting baby slices, like lunch meat slices of that money. So at the end of the day, if you're going to fight for yourself, take on the fines, be like, I'm not going to play. I mean, at some point you got to, I might not agree with it, but if that's what the player thinks they need to do, they're a grown-ass person. I'm just like, yeah, live your best life. All right, second game, Bengals-Browns. Browns beat the shit out of the Bengals.
Ooh.
Joey Burr came in, played like garbage. I mean, the defense, Jim Schwartz in that defense, former Eagles defensive coordinator and former head coach of the Detroit Lions, had that defense ramp the fuck up. Myles Garrett was running around. They also have Zadarius Smith now, who's a monster, who I've loved since he was with the Packers. And then he was with the Vikings last year. Now he's with the Browns. The Browns defense looked real deal. Watson didn't play like garbage. He's still a weirdo, but Browns look like they're serious. I mean, we haven't seen Joey Burr in quite a while. Just got paid coming in. They got shit to work on, obviously. But I mean, the Bengals
dealing with an injury.
The Bengals started slow last year, but it's good to see the Browns start hot. Honestly, I think they could use, a bone or two. So good for them. Good on them. What'd y'all think of that game?
Yeah, I was gonna say, honestly, if it wasn't for the performances of San Francisco and Dallas's defenses, Cleveland would probably be top performance of the weekend for his defense wise. But San Francisco and Cowboys, as a Cowboy fan, I'm going to say the Cowboys were the best performance with the goose egg. But, San Francisco's D was very impressive too. But, yeah, Browns, man, I'll take it. Even though I didn't want Watson winning, my opponent was Joe Burrow and Chase on his fantasy team. And I could not believe when I updated and Joe Burrow had 2 points. I was kind of flustered. I was like, damn, that'll probably never happen again. Yeah, I think Bengals bounce back. I just think, I don't know if Burrow is getting too comfortable. He's not 100% healthy, but y'all saw that suit he came in the game with. My God.
Well, they've been down on their offensive line, so Lionel Collins is supposed to be coming off the injured reserve list, so that should be helpful for them. That's like one of their best offensive linemen. Any quick thoughts on the game, Joe?
I mean, this is the same thing we saw happen last year with the Bengals. Like, Joe Burrow got injured in the offseason. He didn't have all the training camp and OTAs to really go through the process, really build that chemistry with the team, and they didn't get the reps needed to kind of get their flow down.
Yeah.
So beginning of the season, they were horrible. Like, oh, what happened to the Bengals? They made the Super Bowl. Now they're garbage. Then second half of the season, they figured it out, and they came from way behind to win their division, go to the playoffs, beat the Bills in Buffalo in the playoffs. I don't know when the Bengals and the Browns play again, but I think it'll be a much closer game next time they play.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a matter of time before the Bengals get back to their old selves.
Do you think the Browns get better throughout the season, though, too, with Watson?
That's to be seen. I think you got to see it to believe it.
I feel like they're going to be as good as Watson makes them. It's like they have a great defense, but let me rephrase that. They're only going to go as far as Watson takes them.
Okay, that's fair. Next game, Texans-Ravens. Ravens kicked the shit out of them. The Texans played all right, but they obviously have a ways to go. I don't think there's much to say about that. Ravens played all right, although they did lose Dobbins for the year, another Achilles injury, which is rough. He hurt his knee his sophomore season when he came out. I know that because I drafted him in my fantasy, and it fucked me for the whole season because he was the top running back I took. I was ready for him to take over. tore his knee up in the preseason running the ball. Then this one, first game of the year,
He's my running back, or was my running back.
tears his knee up. So next game, Bucks Vikings. Bucks beat the Vikings. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah,
There was
Baker,
a Justin Jefferson hit stick play. He went off, but Bucks ended up winning that game. Bucks ended up winning it by 3. Crazy game. They got outdone in total yards pretty significantly. It was 169 passing to 328. There was more rushing yards on the side of the Bucks, but yeah, I mean they ended up.
Did you hear the story coming out of Baker with the hand signals?
Yeah, he said that he figured out the plays and whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
that's part of football. It is what it is. I mean, that shit happens.
No, it showed like people that kind of have dogged on him for so long for being this character. It kind of was like, hey, I have football intelligence.
Right.
I'm a decently smart dude, and if you can learn and see across the field hand calls and learn them by mid-game, and then know, it's like, hey, hell yeah, dude.
All right, we'll try to get through more of these. Panthers, Falcons. Falcons won that game. Falcons offense looked pretty
Impressive.
good. Bijan Robinson looked good. Panthers have a ways to go. They did sign Tyreek Cohen, former Bears running back who's been out for the past 3 seasons. Tyreek Cohen was a badass at receiving and running, super fast, small, shifty guy. But he had a couple injuries and ended up leaving the league. He's coming back, so we'll see if that has an impact. But Falcons,
I think Atlanta might be the biggest sleeper team of the year.
they got players on offense. They got players. We got to see.
They don't have a quarterback though.
I like Ritter. I think Ritter's good. I like Ritter.
And players. I mean, your quarterback can be kind of like, a fill spot.
We haven't seen enough of Ritter to say that he's not good enough. Now, you could say that he's not. He's about average or maybe above average in most things. But I think that if you have the right pieces around him with that running game, with big receivers like a Kyle Pitts and like a London out there who are just big, massive guys, big targets, I think you can make up for the fact that he might not have the best arm or might not be the most accurate. Because, Desmond Ritter's proven he'll win games. He can go win games, and he's mature for his age. He's a little bit older. I think that if you put him with the right pieces, you can take pressure off of him. If you're running the ball, Bijan Robinson's rushing for 1,000 or 1,200 yards, and you're able to just drop back and hand them off. It's almost like he's in a Jameis Winston type situation way back in the day when Jameis Winston had 2 great receivers and a good running back. I could sit there and just chuck the ball around. But I think he makes better decisions. So I think that Desmond...
I think how do you say his name? Al-Jahir?
Yeah, they have 2 good running backs.
Tyler Algier.
Algier, yeah. He's...
Al-Jahir, yeah. Dude, him with Bijan, and not only... It's usually like a power back and a speedy. They're both kind of similar, and they both are good receivers, too.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just attack on all fronts from the backfield.
Well, that first touchdown by Bijan Robinson was a catch. Made like 3 people miss on his way into the end zone. Like he is as advertised.
I watched him play on UT.
And with the weapons,
there, and he was pretty.
And he's very
the only thing UT had.
He's very effective as well because the weapons they have around him draw attention, and they're big guys. Mm-hmm. They've invested in their offense and use some big picks, some top flight picks on some players to make sure that they're competitive at those positions outside the numbers and in the middle of the field. They've done a good job.
I was saying that division isn't that strong either.
No,
so
that division's definitely
pretty good.
Definitely, with the Bucks winning, Falcons winning, the Panthers lost. And then the Saints ended up winning, correct? Yeah, Saints won. So it's you have 3-1-0 teams, and then the Panthers are 0-1. So there's a lot to be said about what can happen, because you can make a case that maybe the best corner in that division is on Carolina. You could make a case that one of the best defensive players in Burns on one of their outside linebacker, defensive end hybrid guys who's a monster, who's, they're trying to work out a long-term deal with. You can make a case that he's the best defensive player in that division. Easy. So there's, room for Carolina to grow. They're just young. So, yeah, it's definitely an up-in-the-air division. Next game, Cardinals Commanders. Commanders won, not shocking. Cardinals look like they're tanking. I love
Yeah.
Sam Howell. I think Sam Howell's awesome. I said that the Bucks should have drafted Sam Howell to back up Tom Brady because I think that would have been beneficial. I think he's a better version of a Baker Mayfield, but they ended up pulling out the win. He ended up coming back in that game and winning against the Cardinals. We'll see if Washington's for real, but that was a big game. It was sold out. They had all the old school players there, new ownership, coming out party. Huge win for Washington, honestly. I'm glad to see him. Like fuck the Cardinals, honestly. To me, I think they're trying to tanking for somebody, whether it's Caleb Williams or whoever the fuck it is. But I don't think their hearts are in it. I think there's players on that team that are great, really good players, like a Buda Baker and others who definitely are out there giving it their best. And it's frustrating to see them wasting the prime of their years, like on a shitty team like the Cardinals. But shout out Commanders. You know, big win for them. Jags Colts. Jags came back in that game. Anthony Richardson got knocked out late in the game. No Jonathan Taylor. Jags look good. I'd say Calvin Ridley go off. He went the fuck off in that game. Calvin Ridley looks ready to play football. That just made everybody look like he had 8 catches for 101 yards and a tutty. 12.6 yards per catch. That's fantastic. Etienne, 18 for 77, 4.3. There was a pick thrown by Lawrence, but he was still 24 of 32 for 241.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought he had a decent game.
That's not bad at all. On defense, Josh Allen for the Jags had 3 sacks. Tyson Campbell picking up from last year, 6 tackles, 1 pick. I mean, they were just out there making plays. Agnew had 2 returns for 29 yards per return. That's fantastic. Had to come back in that game, a little bit struggle early, but you know I think the Jags are a force to be reckoned with. You talk about a dark horse in the playoffs. You could make a case if the matchup is correct and they get some home field advantage. You could see this team in the AFC Championship game just based off of the athletes and the talent and the depth that they have on offense and defense. Still haven't really had to pay anybody yet. You bring in someone like Calvin Ridley who's got something to prove. You put him next to a Christian Kirk who balled out better than people thought last year. You still have Etienne. You have Evan Ingram who's proved last year that he is who we thought he was or he could be whenever he came out from Ole Miss. Zay Jones is making plays all over the place, crazy ass catches. You know, they just have that mojo to them. Like the Jags, they do. Lawrence kind of gives it to them, and they're young. They got the swagger. And the Colts. I mean, the Colts played good. They're super limited. It's going to be a long year. 24-37 for 223, 1 pick, 1 touchdown. But like I said, he got knocked out. Running game suffered.
Who's their head coach this year? Colts.
Fuck. He was a former Eagles offensive coordinator. It starts with an S.
Oh. Okay.
But definitely struggled. It's going to be a long year for him. That's it. It's going to be a long year for those boys. But, I mean, to lose by 10, Jags kind of had to come back. They made plays. Like, I think there's a toughness to the Colts. They're not quitting, but they definitely, you know, got beat. Niners-Steelers. Niners kicked the shit out of the Steelers. That's shocking. Steelers looking bad and losing. Niners kicked the shit out of them. Fucking what's his name? Brock Purdy. I just hate him. Moving on. Saints Titans. Battle of just shitty quarterback play. Not really that exciting.
Henry had a better performance.
Yeah, but Tannehill, 16 for 34 for 198 and 3 picks. Henry had 15 for 63. That's not like magic. Hopkins 7 for 65. But that was.
I think this is going to be one of his worst seasons.
And then 23 for 33 for 305, 1 pick, 1 touchdown by Carr. But they definitely struggled. Olave, 8 catches for 112. That's really good. I mean, not a great game. 15-16. That's a shit game.
Yeah, totally.
You know, that made me pause for a second. We hope the Saints pull it together and they're able to get their shit together. We'll see. that might be difficult for them. I mean, because if they play like that, I mean, if you're not putting up points, you can pass for 300 yards and 23 or 33, and I'm
Yeah,
efficient.
we'll
But it's
see.
about what points. It's about
Week
points you
4
put
when
up
they
on the
get
board.
Kamara back. I
Yeah,
think
but
that'll help.
true. I think that will help. But that's a red flag then. If you're that dependent, if like to be competitive, especially in the playoffs, you're that dependent on Alvin Kamara to just make plays, do it all, Mister Do It All.
Well, in the sense of if by week 4 they're somewhat getting somewhat of a groove, not fully in it, and then you get a player like Kamara that can literally, just run the fucking ball and kind of do some spark throughout the game.
Yeah.
Who knows what could happen? But
Yeah.
yeah.
We already talked Raiders, Broncos. Let's ride. They'll suck. Eagles, Pats. Eagles struggled for a bit. Definitely played better in the second half. They did
Yeah,
lose some
and we
people.
talked
We're down.
about
Hold on, let me talk. We're down. We're down. Kenneth Gainwell tomorrow with a rib injury, some bruised ribs. They're also down Nakobe Dean for a couple of weeks with a foot injury. They did sign Rashard Evans, who is last year led the Titans in tackles, good middle linebacker, so they bring him in. Do you have some nicks and dings? Jalen Hurts, 22 for 33, 22 out of 33 for 170 and a touchdown. Gainwell, 14 for 54. Jalen Hurts had 9 for 37 and a real bad fumble. Swift only had 1 carry. A.J. Brown played well. Devontae Smith played well and had a touchdown. They both had 7 catches. It was definitely a ball.
It's like you knew you were talking about the Eagles.
It was like definitely a ball possession game. You hope to see more from them down the road. Defense played all right. Kicker was definitely Jake Elliott, 4-4. Kicked great. 56-yarder as well. Punts weren't too bad. Pats, I mean, Mac Jones, 35 of 54. 54 is a lot. That's a lot of pass attempts for a game. For 316, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. A lot of those were just some wildness. Like Kendrick Bourne, they spread the ball well. Kendrick Bourne and their running back Stevenson both had 6 catches for 64 yards. Hunter Henry, 5 for 56, but he had a big drop at the end. Demario Douglas, 4 for 40. I believe that's the rookie. Gesicki, 3 for 36, left wide open. Juju, my knee is about to explode, 4. Zeke had 5 catches. Ty Montgomery had 2. So he spread the ball around a lot. They also played fairly good on defense. The rookie Gonzalez led the team in tackles. He also had a sack. He had 2 assisted tackles. But, I mean, it was an ugly game, but I'm not that mad at it. I'd rather them have a game like that, get kicked in the dick on the road. You got to remember you're going up against Bill Belichick. He's had 5 months to plan for this game and sit there and study film and offense and tendencies. Like there's nobody who's more prepared for the first game of the season than Bill Belichick. His season opener record is pretty good because he just has forever to game plan and pick out every little thing. He's been preparing for this game all summer. So it's good to see him squeak out the win on the road, but there's more to be wanted by the Eagles. And before we get into that, Mr. Goody, you have arrived.
That's right.
And now we just lost Smallwood. But what did you think of that game? And then 2.0, you tell us.
Well, I just wanted to mention that the Eagles have now won 3 straight season openers on the road. So fuck Belichick.
Okay. But Belichick is good at preparing and prepping for these games.
Right, and he still lost like a bitch.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, they were in the passing game looked better. They looked more crisp in the second half. There was raining there as well, so it was kind of an ugly-ish game. 2.0.
I actually think that the Patriots are going to be really good this year, like make the playoffs good, and that's why the game was close. Shout out Kendrick Bourne. I had him on my, League of Dork 16 team, and I dropped him like last year, but I picked him up a week before the season started, and because I heard like a lot of buzz coming out of training camp about him, so I was glad to see him show up.
Well, he's a dog. He was a dog when he was with the Niners. So 2.0, what did you think of the game, Mr. Beats?
I thought it was a good game. I think the main reason Mac Jones had so many pass attempts is because they got down so early and they had to throw the ball to try and get back into that game, which they almost did. It was interesting kind of seeing the Eagles going through the growing pains of having two brand new coordinators against a good team like the Patriots. So I think they're slowly just kind of ironing out those kinks. And then, I don't know, I think much like the Bengals, they'll just get better as the season goes on. And yeah.
Yeah. I think Devontae Smith looked lethal. He's running some crisp routes. He looks smooth, man. I think he has a breakout year. He looked super smooth. They said there was no targets for Dallas Goedert. There was no tight end play. He was left wide open on some plays. Definitely rough to see. But if you remember last year, Devontae Smith had 0 catches, 0 targets in week 1 last year and ended up breaking the record for most catches in a single season. So, there's not, they were running the ball a lot. They definitely looked like they were playing more conservative and trying to figure stuff out, test out pieces. So we'll see, but there's more to be wanted by this team.
But yeah, to 2.0's point about the coordinators, I think that's the only way, like, Goddard doesn't get a catch or a target or whatever. Like, you have a new coordinator. So I guarantee you everybody noticed that. They're going to get into the room and figure out a scheme to open them up.
Well, and then we had the Rams versus Seahawks.
No. I'm back. I get to talk about this game. Sucker. Yeah, what happened to Goddard, dude? He's on my fantasy team. 0 points.
Well, I don't want to listen to you bitch about your fantasy team.
Being real talk.
He's the tight end.
Is he gonna have a better game?
Are you gonna talk about the game, or are you gonna talk about your fantasy team? Because it's about your fantasy team.
Should I bench him?
Moving on. Rams, Seahawks. Rams kicked the shit out of the Seahawks. Didn't see that coming. Stafford lit it up 24-38 for 334. Kieran Williams had 15 carries for 52, 2 touchdowns. It says Cam Akers had 22 carries for 29 yards and 1 touchdown. 1.3, that's crazy. Puka Nakua had 10 catches for 119. And
that's
then
right.
And then Tutu Atwell had 6 for 119. That's crazy. And you got to think they use a first round pick on a corner in Seattle. They also have Wooten, Tyreek Wooten, who's considered one of the best young corners in the league. So they've invested in their secondary. They're down Jamal Adams, like always. I forgot that he actually played football because we haven't seen him in forever. But
just think about the 32 undrafted free agents on the roster. That's why I think, and because the Seahawks seem like they got better, in the offseason, and they were pretty good last year. But yeah, that was crazy. Like out here in LA, like in the afternoon, we don't get any other games besides Rams Chargers. They
they black it out like a Cowboys game.
They don't black it out. No, they just play the Rams and the Chargers over other, like I couldn't watch the Eagles game because the Rams game was on.
Yeah, it's blacked out.
No, blacked out means that you didn't sell out your tickets and therefore you can't watch it on TV.
But what I'm saying is, like, if whatever the home team is, I know, like, not like a blackout like Jerry Jones used to do.
Literally a term.
But but regionally, like that's like the regional game, so you can't get those. You'd have to pay extra. That's why, like, the ticket exists. It's because
I know.
Yeah, because Basic is like, oh no, so it's the same here. There'll be Cowboys.
Well, my point is though that I watched that game. And, I was, like, impressed with the Rams. I got Outwell on my team now.
Bobby Wagner, 8 tackles, 10 assists.
Yeah, that guy's such a fucking baller.
Yeah, because I think that...
He's old as fuck, too.
Yeah,
I know,
but he's nasty. He's mean as fuck. But, I mean, you look at the Seahawks, Geno Smith, 16 of 26 for 112.
Yeah,
Peaches, for a tutty. And then Kenneth Walker was 12 for 64, so it's like they got behind early. And, I mean, that's good. 5.3 yards per carry. You wonder why Geno Smith is attempting to pass the ball 26 times. And honestly, 26 isn't that many times.
Not a lot. Yeah.
It's not a lot.
So. Joe, hear the...
Can you just say Mac... twice as much.
Yeah, Mac Jones is
You didn't hear
54.
Geno Smith's audio bit from Aaron Donald, like about to sack him.
Oh yeah, where he's like,
Oh my God!
yeah, and he's crazy. We
It's
had
so funny.
other game to go over: Dolphins Chargers. Dolphins beat the
Ooh.
Chargers
That's
36-34
probably the best game of
shootout.
week 1.
Tua throwing the ball all over the fucking place.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
how's my pick of Tyreek Hill that y'all poo-pooed, said I took him too early? Shut the fuck up.
28 of
Hey, that's
45.
everyone said I.
28,
Everyone said I
28
did
of 45
defense
for
early.
466, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Tyreek Hill 11 for 215, 19.5 and 2 touchdowns. But I mean, yeah, obviously.
Elwood's like, I got Waddle like way later, and they're like the same. Shut up.
And then Herbert 23 of 33 for 229 and a touchdown. Eckler 16 rushes for 117 and a touchdown. Then 16
he
by
did good to
Joshua
me.
Kelly, 91 yards and a touchdown. Then Herbert had 5 with a touchdown. Keenan Allen's getting old, but man, that dude's just a baller. It seems.
Yeah, until he breaks a fingernail and then he's out for like the entire
I
season.
mean, that's a big shootout. I don't know.
I think both those teams are going to be scary in this season.
I would just be leery. I've seen Tyreek Hill on Monday Night Football put up 180 yards in the first half against Tampa, put up like 275 in that game, something absurd, and like 3 touchdowns, and then get shut the fuck out in the Super Bowl against that exact same team later. He's great. I believe in Tyreek Hill. I'm not a big Tua believer. I'm just not. I just don't really buy into all of it. I don't think his arm is like.
No, the Tua is good. The thing is, like, he's
His
one
teammates
concussion
play
away
good.
from retiring. And Tyreek Hill, you know what he said? He said, like, last year, the plays were just go run fast. And this year, that they're actually scheming for it. So that's why he's just, like, he's, like, literally, like, obviously the best player on the field. And then he's just still wide open. Like, why? How? Because he's that, like, fucking good. That was in LA too, you know. They went across country and beat their ass.
Yeah, no.
But I mean, but there was more Dolphin fans for sure. Like if you were watching the game, like
oh yeah, that's
like,
not a home field advantage
for the Chargers.
in LA at all. That doesn't exist.
Yeah, who was it on the broadcast? Called him San Diego again.
Yeah, good.
Mark Sanchez, or no, he was doing the Rams.
Mark Sanchez. He was doing the Rams. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he was like, oh, he just hit the L2 button.
Oh, because Mark Sanchez trying to make a name for himself, so he's like dropping goofy shit. Oh yeah,
I was like, Mark Sanchez, is that where you butt fumble? Is that the L2 button?
Dude, the butt fumble is great, but like, you know what? Like, I don't want to dog him for the butt fumble because the butt fumble.
What?
The butt fumble is great.
I know, but it's singly like the worst play I've ever seen anybody attempt.
It's one of them.
He ran right into his offensive lineman's ass, got knocked out, and dropped the ball, and they picked it up and scored like on Thanksgiving, like while the entire world was watching.
Yeah, but he's on a short list of people who came into the league as a rookie with a really good team and was able to lead them to back-to-back AFC championship games. So while Mark Sanchez is definitely a goober and definitely made bad plays, in his early career, Mark Sanchez made a shit ton of plays to get his team to that level and beat some really good teams. Like, it's not like Mark Sanchez was some slouch. They did beat Tom Brady and the Patriots. They did have a great defense, but he was the quarterback of those teams.
No, I understand that, but that was Rex Ryan's foot fetish that got them that far, you know?
Well, it was a combination of things. It was butt fumbles, foot fetishes, a lot of good things. We only got a couple
That's
more.
like my porn search history.
We only got 3 more. Packers, Bears. Jordan Love lit it the fuck up. 15 of 27 for 245, 3 touchdowns. Spreading the ball around. They looked really good. Defense played.
Fields sucks.
Justin Fields, 24 of 37, 216, a touchdown and a pick. Room to grow.
Yeah, I don't know about Justin.
Well, I think it's still a process. I mean, this is his second year as the starter, so I don't think you can sit there and really. No, I'm just saying there's obviously room to grow for Justin Fields. Obviously.
Okay, here's the process. His own organization doesn't trust him to throw the ball, and they see him at practice every day.
Well, yeah, but I mean, also they always say like a good running game is a young quarterback or a developing
And
quarterback's best friend because it allows them to have more simplistic routes, run. But there's plays where you could go look. There's some tape out there where it shows him audibling at the line, sliding protections, like on that fade that he threw to Moody in the back touchdown. He changed protections and shifted somebody and moved them in to give himself the time. So I think that the jury's still out on him because he's an amazing athlete. You can't sit there and say that Justin Fields isn't great. I mean,
no,
like he's an
it's just a
insane
bad game
athlete.
to lose. Like you just said, it's his second year. You just lost to a quarterback that's his first game starting ever.
But he's
With the
he's been in
team
the
that
league
really
for
no one
what,
knew much
4
about.
years?
Bears are somewhat established from last year. People are expecting him to somewhat be decent this year.
But no, Jordan Love's been in the league for what, like 4? This is his 4th year. So it's not like
Yeah,
he
but
hasn't
still,
been around.
you know,
No, so it's not like he doesn't know the weapons, know the system, know the
No,
people.
I'm surprised that he hasn't like psychologically broke, like having to listen to Aaron Rodgers like talk like for 4 years while not playing.
Yeah, but no, he gets to go out there. I think that's part of like the mystique of Green Bay is if you're like you're drafted high or you're drafted to be the backup heir apparent to one of these old Packers quarterbacks, and then those guys are always such curmudgeon-y assholes at some point when they move on. They always leave like borderline jaded because they think that they're bigger than the
It's two
idea of the
people.
pack.
It's two people.
Exactly.
It's Brett Favre,
I'm
it's
sorry.
Aaron
So
Rodgers.
that's so.
Don't say those. Don't act like it's like a hand, like 10 people quarterbacks.
In
It's
a
happened
majority
twice.
of our lifetime, the guys that have replaced for the Packers have ended up being kind of dickheads, and not just two. There's also like Matt Flynn, whenever he was the backup, and he went to Seattle and got paid a shit ton of money and was a dick and lost his job to Russell Wilson. I'm just saying that, like, look, if you're Jordan Love, just like with Aaron Rodgers, when you're stepping in after somebody like that and they're leaving on bad terms like that, that fan base wants to fall in love with you. So I think he's in a great position because he's been at the league for a while. He's obviously a better athlete right now than Aaron Rodgers is. He knows the offense. He's seen it done for so long that he knows what to do. He is watching tape with this guy, whether he wants to help him or not. He's in the same film room because they're teammates. It's not like, oh, are you going to help him during the season? They're going to watch the same shit, right?
No, I actually heard that. Rodgers, well, he was pissed when they drafted him, but he took him under his wing, and they actually were working together. It wasn't like a bad relationship.
So I mean, stepping into that role with that team and that fan base with how he left is magic. That's fucking magic for Jordan Love because he gets to come in and they're just going to instantly love him off the bat. It's not like Justin Fields where even if whether he struggles or not, if they go 9-8. They'll be like, hey, look, Aaron Rodgers is gone. We're figuring this out. That fan base will make excuses because it's just not Aaron Rodgers. They just want anybody other than Aaron Rodgers. And they're like,
right,
oh,
but
we drafted
you made
him.
it seem like this happens over and over again. It happened one time with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. It worked out.
This is the second time.
Okay, so we have to see if it works out. Like, if it doesn't work out this time, then like, okay, well, they haven't proven shit.
Okay, well, look, since 92...
One time they did it. Like, it's not a proof of concept until it's done, like, repeatable.
But there's been a lot. No, there's been a lot of great backup quarterbacks for the Packers who've gone on to do other things in the league for other teams and start. Yes. What do
Matt Flynn.
Matt
Flynn.
Play. Doug Peterson for the Eagles. He was a backup and won a Super Bowl with the Packers. He was on that team.
Okay, so, as a backup.
As a backup, and then he left and went to go be the starting quarterback for the Eagles.
Right. And we don't even talk about him.
So there's just backup. There's just backup quarterbacks that go out, just like there's backup quarterbacks for the Eagles that they draft, develop, and send off to other places, and sometimes they start or they get a shot to start. It's like that's like.
Are you talking about mustache rides, Minshew?
I'm just like, well, not just Minshew, but Minshew was by the Jags first, so we don't get to
Nicky
claim.
Foles, Super Bowl winner.
We don't get to claim. We do get to claim Nicky Foles. We do get to claim.
Hell yeah. We have a statue of him outside of the stadium.
Yeah, that's true.
While Carson Wentz was the starter.
So I think there's 2 more games. And then we'll get into picks. Bills Jets. We already did that one. So Cowboys Giants. Cowboys won 40-0. Elwood's super happy. We'll give him a round of applause. I think and let me talk first because it's my show, Elwood. So calm down.
Of course, of course.
When you start off with 2 turnovers or basically a blocked field goal, when you should have gotten a touchdown, you get a blocked field goal, and then that gets returned for a touchdown. Then the very next drive, ball pops out at a Saquon, return for a touchdown. That's so hard to overcome. That game was over in the first quarter. It was there. Like no, I'm serious. And those were great plays.
I
That
know.
hit on
I
Saquon
be
was a
taking
great
notes.
play. That blocked field goal was a
Thank you.
fantastic
Thank you.
play. But it was
Great
so
hit.
hard for them to overcome that. Their running game was non-existent at that point. You're down like what 2 scores with 2 2-point conversions just to get back in the fucking game, like just to tie it.
I know, but no, like they're like Danny Dimes had no time to like pass. It was like his offensive line. It was like just like getting out of the way so that like D-Law and the boys can and Micah Parsons can come in and like just hit him.
Dude, there
Like
was multiple plays where so it's like either Parsons would get doubled and then D-Law or someone else would get through, or Parsons would literally get through on a double. It's just they couldn't stop it.
Well, it's like what I said
Yeah,
earlier,
like-
like what I said at the beginning, that I think we've learned more in that game about the Giants than we did learn about the Cowboys. And when I said the Cowboys were unimpressive, I don't mean that they didn't win an impressive win. But what I'm saying is when you jumpstart like that out 16-0, which are kind of, I'm not going to say fluke plays, especially the block field goal. That's a great play. But to get hit like that on that play, the ball pops up, you catch it in stride, return for a touchdown. Next thing you know, it's like 16-0, and you're sitting there having to chunk the ball around. We learned that they have no offensive line in New York. They have no wide receivers in New York. And the athletes they have at running back are not good enough to overcome the fact that they're lacking in those areas. Their defense was okay. Their defense didn't play super great. But when you're down 16-0, like, you know that it's either going to be a quick 3 and out or they're going to be chucking the ball. You're going to be chucking the fucking ball around. They were gassed. By the time it was halfway through the third quarter, that defense was spent. The fact that those guys had to keep going out there was embarrassing because the offense for the Giants wasn't doing shit. And because they were put in a position where it's like, all right, my man's got to beat your man. And we're going to go out there athlete to athlete. I'm going to beat you one-on-one. And Danny Dimes is going to overcome this hill. That's not going to happen.
I know, and then they're down 40-0, and they keep Danny Dimes in the game, and like after the game, they're like, he wanted to show the team that he was here to fight, and like this was his team.
Oh,
It's
I
like,
know
no,
you're here
bro,
to fight,
you,
dude.
You have backup quarterbacks for this situation,
Yeah,
and you
well,
can't win the game.
We know that he's a gamer because he stayed at the game till past halftime. Because he kept going
That's what they were
back
saying.
up.
That was
running
the point
around.
of why.
And like, look, the Cowboys defense is fast. You got some athletes. Gilmore looked good, but it's also like, what's the level of competition at wide receiver? You're going to face better wide receivers down the road. Then, Garrett Wilson is better than Garrett Wilson of the Jets, with or without Aaron Rodgers, is twice as good as any receiver that they have on that team. So
he's twice as good as most receivers in the league.
It'll be interesting to see this matchup, your offense against the Jets defense. I think the Jets offense is going to struggle, obviously, and your defense is going to match up well because of the lack of quarterback play. But their defense against your offense is going to be a better litmus test for where this is the type of game that you lose because Dak plays bad and the defense rises to the occasion. And they won that game They won that game on a punt return in overtime after everybody's writing them off. Don't be surprised if that defense for the Jets is not like full tilt from the jump. They're going to be coming. They have athletes. They have it's going to be a better test for CeeDee Lamb at corner. Even their defenses aren't the same class. And that offense for the Jets, we learned that they have a fuck ton of issues. Now,
okay, enough of these Jets. It's supposed to be Cowboy talk right now.
I'm just saying. I'm talking about when it comes to the Giants, and I'm just comparing them to the Jets. Who, if you put Danny Dimes on the Jets are probably still going to the playoffs with or without Aaron Rodgers.
Well, for sure,
right?
Sure.
But if you take Zach Wilson and put him on the Giants are worse than they are. It doesn't matter who's playing quarterback for the Giants right now with those people at receiver and with that way that offensive line is playing. It doesn't fucking matter. One of their best defensive players quit and retired to go play sell Pokemon cards that lets you know like the feel of the locker room. I'm gonna go sell my Illustrator Charizard, and I'll be fine. I'd rather sell my Pokemon cards that are an increase in value than play for the New York Giants.
Well, real quick, the game was on September 10th, so the day before the anniversary of 9/11, and it was in New York. So McCarthy's fat ass was able to fit. They found a hat to like fit his head for FDNY,
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
then and the Giants coach was wearing NYPD. He came out of the locker room on halftime, and he wasn't wearing the hat anymore. And I was like, I bet he's like, I can't be wearing this hat, getting our ass beat by 30 points. Like, he's like, this is disrespectful to the victims of 9/11. Like, I
Yeah,
gotta just take this off.
Yeah, the Giants, but the Cowboys had opportunities, took advantage of them. The pass rush looked good. They looked healthy. There were some people out there like Bell and others who were like hitting people. So the Cowboys defense looked fast, looked quick, looked like some sure tacklers. Didn't really see anything out of Mozzie Smith that was super crazy, the first round pick, but that defensive line rotation looked really good. And we'll just see. I want to see the Cowboys offense against a better defense. And because if you don't have those plays, let's say they get that field goal, it's 3-zip, Giants have a lead, and that doesn't get blocked, or they just score and it's 7-0, and I'm not trying to speak in what ifs, that's a completely different game. Because to go out there, have a field goal block, return for a touchdown, then go back out, throw a pass, have the guy get hit, and it gets scooped and scored and returned for a touchdown, that's like cringe. That's like instant.
Well, when
like
our top
that's deflating.
Player before the season starts comes out with all these statements about the defense, I think they showed it more than any other defense for week 1.
Well, the Cowboys are known for having a
do.
good defense.
The Niners.
Not for a while. Cowboys defense, it's like we might have one pass rusher, but then our secondary is shit.
And look, I would say this.
This is the first total package we've had in a long time.
For the first time in a while, the Cowboys played a team that was not on the same level as them, and they did not play down to the competition. I'll give you that.
Well, and
they rose to the occasion. They took advantage of the plays when they needed to, and they made plays to keep it continuously, and they shut somebody out. So they looked good. They did what they should do based off of what we saw from the Giants. The Cowboys should kick the shit out of the Giants. We should kick the shit out of the Giants. It should be borderline close, probably not close if they play Washington, because Washington's always got a pass rush. They've got a good defense, and Howell didn't look bad, and they could run the ball. They have athletes. If you have anything that's moderately above average, you should destroy the New York Giants. And
Did you just sound like Chris Collinsworth? Did you say pass rush? Have you ever noticed that he always adds an H to pass rush?
Oh, pass rush.
He said it 7 times during that game.
We be sipping.
Pass rush.
I've heard you talk so bad about Giants, but they won a playoff game. They were in the playoffs last year. The broadcast was 50-50 split for picking the Giants to win the game. So it wasn't like, Giants are just... It was a hard game for both teams. Like, let's drop everything.
Stop it. You guys beat the shit out of them. You beat the shit out of them. You got some great plays on your defense played. I just said that you guys dominated them and did what you should do.
I know, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying what was my original point at the beginning of the show was the weather was so bad. Like, when people started hating on Danny Dimes, and I was like, honestly, I don't think you can rightfully critique Dak or Danny in that game, just because what quarterback is really going to have an outstanding performance and that heavy of a downpour consistently through the whole game? Like, it was just...
Especially when you have no time to pass the ball.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying, is we learned that there are a lot more issues for the Giants than we were led to believe.
Some of his best passes, unfortunately, were dropped by all of our tight ends in the end zone. I don't know what it was with Hendershot and Ferguson.
Ferguson looked like ass, dude. Ferguson was dropping balls left and right. I was cringing.
Yeah, he had like a surefire touchdown and just like...
Yeah, I just dropped it. It was like, man, Dalton would have caught that.
So that was my one,
which has got to hurt.
critique was our tight ends were not. They need to step it up.
All right, well, we are done. We've gone through every game of the week. And now, we're getting on the picks. Because I can see it, Baby Joe, fading. Oh, we just lost Baby Joe.
Oh, Baby Joe.
Well, you got your
are we doing the...
Oh, he's back.
The bet? Are we doing the bets is what you're saying?
Yeah, picks. Bets.
Okay.
Bets.
Well,
we're in the bet section. Hold on.
Want me to go first?
Hold on.
Let the experts go, and then I'll tell you the real winners.
Hang on, be right back. Wait, never mind.
Yeah, I was like, you're right, you're back, dude. What are you talking about? Aww. He's a young
Like,
pup.
you said, like, your guys' image wasn't showing up, but I don't know.
Well, all right. We're getting into picks, or bets. The betting portion of this brought to you by nobody. Don't gamble unless you can afford it. Yeah, you can go first, Mr. Goody. You normally go first. So let us know how you did last week based off of your picks, and then give us your picks for this week, or your bets.
Both my parlays got blown up. Seahawks blew up the NFC one, and the Chargers blew up the AFC one. So we got 0.
Okay.
But so I did this time AFC NFC again, 5 teams again, but a 6-point teaser. So for the audience and Elwood, a teaser for 6 points means that whatever the spread is. So let's say the team's favored by 3, so they're -3, right? Like on the spread. You hit it with a 6-point teaser. Now all of a sudden, it's +3, so they could actually lose the game by 2 or 1, and still you win the bet. So just add 6 points in your favor, whatever direction that's going, right? Okay. So for the NFC, I took the Detroit Lions at home over the Seahawks, and they were favored by 5 points, but with the 6-point teaser, now it's +1. So basically, it's a pick 'em. So they don't have to win by 5; they could just win. So Lions, and then I took the Eagles. They're favored by 6, so the 6 points just makes it a pick 'em game. So basically, it's pick 'em for the Lions, Eagles. I took the Niners, and they were favored by 8, so dropped it down to 2. Packers favored by just 1, so now it's +5, so they can lose by 4 or less, and the bet still hits. And the Saints were favored by 3, so now it's they +3, so they can lose by 2 and still win. Lions, Eagles, Niners, Packers, Saints, 6-point teaser, and that is 1 unit, and you get back 4.2. So it's 4.2 to 1, plus 420.
Okay.
Hey yo.
All right. This bet is the exact same, plus 420, but it's all AFC. So I took the Chargers, who were favored by 3. Now it's +3. I took the Raiders, who were underdogs by 9.5 versus the Bills, and I extended it to 15.5. So as long as they lose by 2 touchdowns or less, the Raiders, or win, that hits. And like the Bills look like shit, in my opinion. They lost to the Zach fucking Wilson. Kansas City Chiefs on the road versus the Jaguars. They were favored by 4.5, so this flips it to where it's 2.5. So they just basically need to win that game, and it's good. And then the Ravens in Cincinnati, they were dogs by 3.5, and I added it to 9.5. So they win by 8, lose by 8 or less. It's in. And actually, there's one more team. Oh, Pittsburgh, and I like the Browns. Shout out the Browns beating the Bengals. Called it. This time it's the Browns in Pittsburgh, and the Browns are favored by 2. So I took the Steelers, added 6 onto it. So now it's Steelers +8. Basically, lose by a touchdown or less, that hits, and this is plus 420. So Steelers, Ravens, Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers. 6-point teaser.
Okay. You heard it
I
here
see the
first.
Jags. I see the Jags potentially upsetting that parlay. Gonna be a close game.
All right.
Yeah, well, it can be close. They can actually win, and I still win as long as it's
Oh, okay.
2 points or less.
The Chiefs had to.
All right. 2.0. Let's hear them.
All right. So last week went 3-1 or 1-3. Forgive me.
Oh,
That's a big
whoa,
difference.
whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, Donald Trump.
Long day. So the Jaguars at Colts under 45.5 did not hit. Colts offense surprised me. They came out with a lot more than I thought they would.
Yeah, we forgot that they have the Eagles coordinator this year.
Yeah. The Seahawks did not cover the spread against the Rams. They just lost outright. Again, another surprise. Seahawks do not look like the team that they were last year at all.
Mm-mm.
The Eagles did cover the -4 against the Patriots. We've talked about that a bunch. I'm not going to go too much into that. And then probably the biggest surprise for me was the Vikings losing to the Bucs outright when the Vikings were 5.5-point favorites.
I thought you said that you could see them winning, the Bucks.
No.
I thought we were like saying like, you know, it'd be funny if the Bucks win. But also, y'all were talking shit about
like
my boy
an
Baker
elbow.
Mayfield.
No, I
Talking shit about
said
Baker.
I could see what I said was that it's the Vikings and it's Kirk Cousins and we'll see where they're at. So I was saying like it'd be funny if they did win, but
Yeah, okay, I knew somebody did.
no.
But you guys were all poo-pooing Baker.
He didn't play that great. It's not like they played that awesome.
Did they win the game?
Yes, they won the game, so they did win, but it's not like they. He
Hey,
said that
Cowboys
was,
won the game, and Dak still played like shit.
oh.
Right.
Moving on to week 2. So coming up here,
Show
I got
me his
the
numbers.
Packers -1 at the Falcons. I really liked what I saw out of the Packers. I really liked what I saw out of Jordan Love. On the flip side, did not really like what I saw out of the Falcons, more specifically Desmond Ritter.
Yeah, he sucks.
He didn't have a pass attempt past 8 yards. I know they have the weapons. We talked about that earlier, but I think Desmond Ritter just needs to figure it out with that offense. And then I got the 49ers at the Rams over 44.5. No questions here about the 49ers offense. The Rams offense last week showed that they can come to life. They had success against a decent Seahawks defense. And I think most of our points here are going to come from the 49ers, but I think the Rams will get enough to bring us over this lower total. And then I got the Lions -5 against the Seahawks. Talked about it a little bit earlier. I think I really like the Lions. I like seeing this arc that they're on of like being the dumpster fire of the league for so many years. Now they're kind of coming back. It's their home opener in their most promising season that they've had in recent memory. I think against the Seahawks team that really just showed nothing to be that impressed about, I just like the Lions in this spot.
Yeah, they call that the Vegas zone, the -5. It's like basically like usually, you know, it's like 3-6. There's not really like often other than the Eagles Patriots game where it's a 5-point difference. So it's basically saying we don't fucking know.
Well, did you see that Gardner Johnson's trying to get everybody to wear blue ski masks to the game, as like the fans to wear blue full face blue ski masks?
I'm sure that people at the stadium love that.
I think that'll be awesome if they do it. That'd be fucking badass.
A bunch of people in Detroit wearing ski masks. I don't know.
Masks and pooch ices.
I am doing a teaser as well as Mr. Goody. I just got a 2-leg teaser here. Taking the 49ers from -7.5 down to -1.5 at the Rams. Basically need the 49ers to win by 2 points or more. more, I don't think that'll be an issue at all. And then the Bills from -8.5 to -2.5 against the Raiders. Yeah, the Bills did not play that well last week, but I'm not too worried about them. The Jets have had their number for the last couple of years. Jets also have an insane defense. And then they're going from that team to play a Raiders team that barely beat the Broncos. Should not have beat the Broncos, but I am biased. And then so we get this number under 3, which I really like. So that's why I like this teaser here.
Let me ask you to see if you have an opinion. So I teased that game too, but I took the Raiders and gave them more points. So they could still win and lose by 14. But do you think which one's like a better bet? I was just thinking like bringing the Bills down to where they just have to win by 3, or the Raiders to not lose by more than 2 touchdowns.
I like the Bills just
Yeah,
because
I was
the Bills
thinking
are
that.
clearly the better team. And when you get into number spreads that high, I don't really like messing around with it because you just never know what's going to happen. The Raiders could just absolutely shit the bed. The Bills take out all their frustration from their loss last week and they send a message to the league like, hey, we're for real. So they don't let off the gas. They like put up 45 points against the Raiders and it's a 28-point blowout.
Nah, dude. Jimmy G is gonna have that like energy where like Josh Allen looks like like a very like ugly like country bumpkin, and Jimmy G's Jimmy GQ, and just the fact that Jimmy
He
would be like the
looks
popular
like
guy at high
Josh
school, and
Allen.
Jason.
Yeah. I'll say Josh Allen
I
looks
think
like a knockoff Chris Pratt.
no,
Kinda. Or they're the same.
what?
Like he's like, yeah, I'm just saying. He kind
No, he looks like Josh Allen.
of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Matt.
So
Damon.
so give us the breakdown one more time.
Yeah, so Packers -1 at the Falcons. Got the 49ers at the Rams over 44.5. We got the Lions -5 against the Seahawks. We got a 2-leg teaser taking the 49ers to down to 1.5 against the Rams. And the Bills from 8.5 down to 2.5 against the Raiders.
I think that's a good bet. They were just asking for you to tease those two.
All right. Well, those are picks. You heard them here first, even though we did rough last week. Now, Elwood, tell us your picks since you were the great oracle. You said you'll go last. Let's hear what you got to say.
I gotta look up the.
I pick my nose sometimes.
And your Nickelodeon pants and your tie-dye shirt.
Hey, dude, Nickelodeon pants are sick.
I can just see. I can see.
I know. I remember your mom was trying to get me to wear some of those PJs.
Oh, yeah.
She bought them the same year she bought you.
Yeah, like old lady. See some lover over here.
Jeez, dude, that was a good one. That was good. He zinged you good. All right. Well, we got some games this week. We got the Eagles Vikings tomorrow. You guys feeling like the Eagles just take that game or what?
Yeah.
Y'all should if you don't.
And
We own the fucking Vikings.
And you got the Jets this week. You guys should beat them.
Yeah.
If you're
It's gonna. I think the Jets need to be hiring as many quarterbacks as possible because we come into hurt.
Well, also,
Wilson's going down.
Yeah, Bill Belichick owns Zach Wilson's ass. Like if Bill Belichick, the reason why I'm saying is because they need to get a quarterback before they play the Patriots in like a week or two. But if Bill Belichick went to the App Store and tried to buy Zach Wilson, it would say, "Are you sure you want to like make this purchase? Because you already own this motherfucker."
Crazy. Other big games of the week: Colts Texans. That could be good. Richardson versus Stroud. Jaguars Chiefs will be good. That's not going to be a cakewalk for the Chiefs at all. Packers Falcons.
What's Sunday night?
Niners Rams will be good. Sunday night.
Who Monday night game?
Sunday night is Dolphins Patriots, and then Monday night is Steelers Browns.
And no, there's 2 games
Yeah,
Monday.
and there's Saints Panthers.
Yeah, then they're playing at the same time, right?
Commanders got your Broncos. How you feeling about that?
I think we're gonna lose.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm not too optimistic about it.
They're favored though, the Broncos.
Happened like 2-3 years ago. Commanders came into Denver and beat the shit out of us. Like all jokes aside, like the Commanders are actually talented.
Okay,
Yeah.
can we not call them the Commanders?
Defense.
Do they change their name?
It's the Washington C words.
Do they change their name?
No, they're the C words.
Well, no, they've talked about changing their name again.
Well, they should because they fucked that up.
New ownership.
Yeah,
saying.
Commanders is stupid, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, me too. But I said that, and my brother was like, he's like or maybe it was my brother, my friend, who's like, all team names are stupid. He's like, none of them like mean anything, and like it's just because it's your team, you like it. And I was like, that's probably kind of true.
That's fair.
Like the Pelicans, I thought was the dumbest name, and then now I think that's kind of tight.
Yeah, right, dude. New York Jets. Who doesn't think, right when they think of New York, that just jets, flying aircraft? Makes total sense.
No, it's like because they're New York, man. They're jet setters.
What else we got that we didn't talk about? Yeah, I mean, I think we've covered all of those. Well, that was bets and everything with these two chuckle fucks.
When do we play y'all? We play y'all.
We play soon. You guys play in Philly.
I think it's 3 or 4.
Because the week after this week, we play the Eagles. Eagles play the Bucks on Monday Night Football. That'll be awesome.
I think we play the Giants week 15 and 17. So the Giants might be, or the Eagles might be just done. But those are 2 wins at the end of the season. That'll be nice.
I'm trying to find
Don't know. Don't count out the Giants.
First time is November 5th. This is the first time we play.
So, if the Cowboys goose egg the Jets, can we just confirm best defense in the league?
Yeah, but I think you're really underestimating the Jets defense.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a goose egg on their part.
Okay, well, what if you guys get goose egg?
We won't.
Sauce Gardner, 2 picks. Jets win 28-24.
Yeah, we can get half of the points we got last week, and we'll still be good. We'll still be like everyone else in the league.
We'll see. That's why they play the game.
If y'all won y'all's first game 40-0, oh my God, this podcast would be night and day.
No, because that's what we expect to do.
Oh, yeah.
Act like you've been there before, homie.
I have. It's just been a while.
Yeah.
What else?
This is new for you, too, so I know.
New.
We got the new jitters.
New. We've won Super Bowls. We've been in 3
Super Bowls?
We've been in
1 Super Bowls?
We've won a Super Bowl, been in 3.
There you go.
Since
okay.
I've been watching.
Making sure.
Dude, I was still sucking breast milk after mom's titties the last time the Cowboys were in the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's weird.
Like I was doing it out of necessity for nutrition instead of just for fun.
9 or 10 years old.
Nutritional, dog. He nutritioned it
Dude,
up, bro.
Trying to get that calcium.
Damn, dude. Look out.
Sucking on it like it was a crack.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, what?
Well, honestly, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see this week. Offenses looked like shit all week by everybody. Defenses look good. Even offensive teams that put up stats still looked like garbage overall.
Well, that's what happens when you don't play in the preseason.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of people that didn't play in the preseason, and it fucking shows. So I think will be a better litmus test this week that we see in these games. It starts tomorrow with the Vikings at the Eagles. That'll be a good game. Or are we at the Vikings?
Show me Dak's stats.
I think we're at the Vikings.
Yeah, let me give you Dak's numbers. It's 34, 36, 37. Yeah.
No.
If you're trying to tailor him a suit.
Why Joe, was talking crap. Hey, sorry, man. Russell Wilson, don't take it out on me.
Listen, I drafted him as a rookie. He's been my quarterback since he's been in the league, and he does some real goofy shit that I have to defend because I just love him. Because I birthed him as a baby, a third-string baby. But
he
might be
Russ
done.
was bad, but remember last year Dak was really bad towards the end of
One
last
year.
He's never been good. He's done
One
nothing
year
in the
he
league.
has his turnovers.
He's done nothing. Again, Russell
Josh
Wilson has
Allen
a Super Bowl.
leads the league in turnovers, and he's still a superstar.
How many turnovers
Yeah.
Dak have last
Yeah,
year?
1 year. One bad year for Josh Allen. One bad year for Russell Wilson. What's
How
the
is it
difference
one bad
between
year
all
for
these
Josh
quarterbacks?
Allen? How is it bad for 1 year for Josh Allen when he's literally the leading turnover quarterback in the league since he's been in the league?
Since 2022, which was 1 year ago.
No.
Yeah, well, he has cut down on fumbles. Well, no, that was Danny Dimes.
Since 2022,
Danny
I saw
Dimes
the
cut
graphic today.
No.
Oh,
shots fired.
oh, the graphic.
Well, we know my team's going to win the division.
Yeah, card.
We'll see. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to wrap this up because we're creeping on 2 hours. But Mr. Goody, thank you for being here. I know it was late. But we need to. What time works for everybody?
That's literally the second I got home.
Are you always going to be home?
Well, stop
9:30 our
sucking
time?
on my mommy's titties, and you maybe make it on time.
Dude, I told you I don't want to do it. She makes me. She's abusive.
Jesus, we'll be a man.
Because 2.0 is like passing out, but at least it's earlier than last time. It's earlier than last time, you son of a bitch. Because I think we started at 9:30 last time. So, no. Well, I appreciate you guys being here. We'll see how these games play out. Hopefully, these bets hit and we make some fucking money.
Real quick before we leave. The escaped killer caught today wearing an Eagles shirt.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then they cut it off his body because they're a bunch of Eagles fans, all those cops. And they're probably like, get this fucking shit up. We can't do them dirty like this.
He's wearing a Devontae Smith jersey. Rip that shit off of him. He's wearing
the guy that escaped jail?
Yeah, the murderer that escaped, that climbed up the wall like some parkour beast.
Well, because he's from Brazil and he used to climb up trees like that, so that's why he was so good.
I don't know if that's racist or
no, that's true.
Or if that's factual.
That is factual. My mom told me, and she's extra racist.
Yeah, I was to say, if your mom said that,
accidentally racist.
Accidentally, yeah, sure. Well, I appreciate you guys being here. Another good one, 2.0. Go to bed. Go get some sleep, big boy. But I appreciate y'all being here. Next week will be another episode. And we'll work on timing it. Maybe we just go through stuff and then Goody comes late. Because I don't want to keep old Joe up too late. He's a growing boy. He needs his sleep.
Aww.
And no, right? Look at him.
He gets grumpy when he doesn't get enough sleep.
No, poor little guy. Well, I appreciate y'all coming by. Thank you so much. I will see y'all on the flip side.
All right. Go fuck yourself, Elwood.
Oh my goodness, these guys, man, I tell you what. They're absolutely ridiculous. Well, another one down, 26, Achilles heel. Shout out Aaron Rodgers. Sucks to be you. I don't think you're a dick. I like your persona, but a lot of people don't like you. So don't be surprised if they talk shit. We'll see what happens with the Eagles. We'll see what happens with the 40 and a goose egg Cowboys. It's another season, man. This is fucking fun. Angry Black Quarterback. Y'all go fuck yourselves. I'm signing the fuck up. I'm gonna go play Starfield like a grown man. Peace.